Hey everyone, welcome to Field of Geeks at the Movies. We are your hosts. I'm Josh.
Mitch.
I'm Steve.
Today we're talking about Star Trek First Contact. This is the 8th film in the series. It came out back in 1996, and it followed Star Trek Generations, which was our first TNG movie. What do you guys remember about that time period exactly?
I was in Amarillo, Texas. That's where I saw it. I remember when it came out. Gosh, when you said that year, though, I didn't realize it had been that long.
Yeah, Generations was 94.
Wow,
so, yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. This might have been one of those movies that I got to see before it came out in the theater.
Oh,
because my wife was an assistant manager at a movie theater.
Oh, sweet.
And so the night before a premiere, like at midnight, once all the shows were done, you know, we'd come in with pizza or Burger King or whatever.
Oh, nice.
That's great.
Just watch movies. It was awesome.
I got to do that once. Joey worked at a theater.
Oh,
and I
yeah?
got to see Star Trek Into Darkness.
Nice.
That's pretty badass. That's
Yeah.
awesome, though.
It was fun. But yeah, I mean, it was a great film. Loved it.
How'd you feel about Generations at the time?
I liked parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and even back then, and I still to this day, I think killing Kirk was dumb. You know,
I think Shatner agrees.
Shatner totally agrees.
Yeah.
Hindsight's 20/20, right?
Yeah.
But you could have passed the torch in a million different ways besides killing, you know, Jim Kirk, the best captain in the history of Starfleet.
To be fair, he was wearing a red shirt.
Well, he was. But so was Picard.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
true.
yeah, it was unnecessary, I thought. But, you know, I mean, I thought parts of the movie were awesome. You know, I mean, I didn't not like the movie. I just thought it was a bad move to,
Of course.
cut off a million options.
That might have been one of my problems with it, too. I don't know. It was just missing something. I was young,
Yeah.
but I still could tell, like, yeah, it wasn't quite what I wanted, you know. I think visually the movie looks great. It's
Yeah,
still really
agreed.
high up there, especially with the Enterprise. First time
Yeah.
you got to see it on, you know, in the theater.
Right.
All the special effects thrown at it, you know,
Yeah.
and it just was incredible. But
And we got to see the Enterprise B,
yeah,
you know.
that was cool. The
yeah.
Excelsior,
with
yeah,
Captain Merriman.
right.
If I remember correctly. It was pretty slick.
It was. And
Sulu's daughter.
that was neat too.
Yeah. So it was. I liked the movie. It was fun, but and I was excited for First Contact because you know it was the TNG's first go ahead
Official
of their own
movie, yes.
right? And they certainly deserved that. I mean,
They did.
Awesome show.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailers. It looked a lot more dark
Right.
than the previous one. It almost looked like it was rated R territory in a way.
Yeah.
Some of the visuals they were showing you. But yeah, I remember like just being amped to see it. And I think that's one of the greatest feelings in the world. I mean, we have so many critics now, but back then when critics were saying positive things,
Yeah.
it actually made you like
And spoilers
excited.
weren't coming out way
Right,
before
we
the
didn't have
movie.
the
so
internet.
yeah.
Exactly. So back then it meant more going into it. Because I remember going into Generations, there was mixed reaction. So that kind of just bummed me out.
How old
This
were you
was-
when that came out? When First Contact came out? 96.
96. I think I was 15. Yeah, 15, I'd say.
I was 26 or 7. I don't know. It was ridiculous.
Just a new freshman in high school.
Wow.
Those were the days.
My wife was pregnant.
Congratulations.
Ah, those were the days.
I was trying to get my driver's license.
Yeah.
We were dropped off at the theater.
Yeah.
I was
We
trying to
were.
make sure my benefits was going to cover the childbirth.
You clearly had more stress going on than I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Mine was asking girls out, and that was about it.
Yeah, that too. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all worked out.
Right.
Hey, you want to go see First Contact?
That's actually pretty clever.
Yeah, right? I'm not that kind of girl.
Make it so.
I'm not that kind of girl. I'm cool.
Got a lot of those back in the day.
Well, that's the other thing. That's before the geek
Yeah.
culture really,
Right.
Yeah.
How long has the geek culture really been acceptable and huge? Like last decade or
Yeah,
more?
I'd say probably last 10, 15 years, maybe. It's been 12 years.
Probably
Right.
the start of X-Men.
Because before that, you wear a superhero shirt, you just be like, nerd.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be caught dead in any of that
28-year-old guy sitting in the basement
I've been
playing
going to
on his
Dragon's
computer.
Lair for 15 years in Omaha, and I never once bought me a superhero shirt. Are you kidding me?
You're right.
You know, I kind of looked out
I'm
the
an
door
adult.
before I walked
Yeah.
outside with all my comics. You know, there's no one driving by that I know, right? Okay,
This is for my son
Yes.
that I don't have.
right. Yeah.
Also bought some Pogs.
So, premise of this movie was basically the Borg go back in time to stop First Contact. First Contact was the event where we come to learn that the Phoenix prototype warp ship piloted by Dr. Zephyr Cochrane.
Zephyr Cochrane. Yep. It was the first warp vessel,
Yep.
and so once they achieved warp, and they had the warp signature out there, they were picked up by quote unquote aliens, hence making first contact with another species. So yeah, that was the premise of it.
So it was new fiction to add to the lore, and
Right. And Cochrane has been mentioned in the original series too.
That's right.
So, I mean, this is a character who is, you know, kind of canon all the way through Star Trek's history, which is pretty neat that they utilized him as a character in the movie, I thought.
And I believe they changed it too. Like, you know, because, I mean, I love Star Trek, but they occasionally will rewrite a few things. Like,
Right.
I guess the original series, Cochrane was from another planet, I think, or something like that.
He was on another planet.
He was on another planet. Okay.
Yeah, it was a little bit different, you know, so I honestly, I watched that of the original series recently, that episode, and I like what they did with him in First Contact a little
Oh,
bit
of
better.
course. Yeah. They got to really expand the character, made it interesting.
Right.
It was fine. I mean, I think going back generation just for a second, you had Scotty. No, Kirk died.
Yeah.
But if you go back to the TNG episode, Scotty's like, oh, he was down waiting for me to beam over. Like, okay. I guess you could just say Scotty had a memory issue.
Sure.
Whatever.
Well, and with the original series, Zephyr Cochrane, you know, this was well after First Contact. So this paradox, you know, could have changed all of that.
Right.
You know, so who knows?
Exactly. And what was also cool about this movie was it was directed by TNG's own Jonathan Frakes, Commander Riker.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because this movie and Spock's movie, where they were both like backup to the main captain, seemed to do the best, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah, I mean, Leonard Nimoy had a lot of great success on his Star Trek, you know, direction, and
The Voyage Home.
Yeah, and Jonathan Frakes, who's no stranger to directing, you know, episodes of the series, and
he did DS9, Voyager, and TNG.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, it was I'm glad that he got that directing nod because this movie knocked it out of the park.
Oh, it did. It
just
did.
knocked it out.
And it might have been his directorial debut. I think it was.
I don't remember, but
I mean, theatrically, not television,
right.
but yeah, I think even as a kid, I was like, really? Frakes is directing? Like, that's kind of weird. But it looks like, just from researching, like 2 other directors were approached for the movie, but they just didn't know Star Trek. That was a problem. And so I think it took Patrick Stewart and producer Rick Berman, I think.
Yeah,
that's
Berman.
his name.
Yep.
They kind of just gave the okay to have Frakes direct. So they had something to do with it.
Yeah.
So it all just clicked. And really, Frakes and Nimoy are very similar. If you look at it, they're both second in command, pretty much. They both directed 2 Star Trek films.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, the parallels.
Yeah, so that was really cool. I could always it was weird. Like real life, there was actually like they're so similar. But
who was
kind
the
of
better
same.
first officer, Riker or Spock?
Oh.
See,
I'm getting off course. I apologize.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh.
Well, I always get confused. Like, I guess you would count Spock as first officer in the original series, but he was a science officer.
He's a science officer,
so
but he was Kirk's number 1.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, he sacrificed himself in 2, so I'd say him, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
It is tough, though. That's what's great about
You can make an
these
argument
casts.
about either
You could,
one. You know,
especially
cool.
the captain argument.
Right.
This is regarded as one of the best TNG films of the whole run.
Yeah.
And just watching it recently, it made you really kind of upset that they didn't really try to recapture. Not to say they didn't try, but this movie just offered so much. And I mean, we're going to get into it, of course, but you have some crossovers within all the series going on at the time. You got a little DS9 nod, a Voyager nod, and it's just fantastic.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So the movie opens with Picard in a Borg ship, and he's wearing his old uniform. It's kind of confusing. You know, I remember watching it. I was like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
He's back? And then they pan out, and it's just a beautiful shot of the Borg, the interior of the Borg ship, which we didn't get to see in the show because there just wasn't money to really get into it.
The Borg cube was huge.
It was all.
Yeah, it was massive.
It was, this really gave you the scale that it truly was. And then you get to see Picard back in Locutus mode.
Locutus of Borg.
Yes.
I am Locutus of Borg. Resistance is futile.
So it turns out it was a dream, basically.
Mm-hmm. Little flashback, PTSD type thing.
Right. There's actually two dreams. Yeah. Picard goes to the mirror to, rinse his face, and then what is it, robotic insect?
A Borg implant just comes right out of his face.
Right. So you're like, what's going on? Already it threw you twice.
And then he wakes up.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
Inception.
Exactly.
But it's a dream within a dream.
Did he break the fourth wall?
Oh, man. Broke the 12th wall. Actually,
he's still in the Nexus.
He's still in the dryer spark.
So basically, we get word from the Admiral that the Borg have kind of... they're starting to engage more of the fleet, and they're getting close to Earth, basically. Of course, we get the beautifully brand new Enterprise E, because, D got destroyed in Generations.
But it is a phenomenal looking ship.
It is.
Do you remember the episode in Generations, not to walk away from it too much, where they go into the future? Or there's like parallel...
Yesterday's Enterprise?
Yeah,
with the
so
Enterprise
they go into the
C?
future, and then they have the Enterprise, but it's got some sort of looking horn spike in the front.
Yeah, because it's an alternate timeline. It was more of a war timeline. More, like Worf wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is the ideal ship. It looked like a razor blade going through outer space. It was just, it's as cool as this ship in the movie.
Yeah, I guess this is a Sovereign class. Beautiful ship. It really mimics what came before, the old Enterprise and all that.
There's a lot of flavors from it, yeah.
Yes, very much so. And it's more of a warship. Enterprise D, I think, was bigger. Mm-hmm. It was more of a family friendly explorer ship, whatever.
Remember peaceful missions.
Yes. Not in this movie,
torpedoes.
But yes. Torpedoes. You never know.
Torpedoes.
So yeah, beautiful shot of the new Enterprise. I remember seeing this on the... I mean, everything was just working, You get to see the new interior of the ship, new uniforms. They have their black uniforms with the gray top.
Yep.
Looking great. The interior ship is fantastic. It's very, to me, the bridge of the Enterprise D is probably my favorite.
Yeah,
his scale and
very spacious and
like I'd want my living room to look like.
Right, exactly.
My wife would probably stop me, but and money would too because this is expensive. But anyway, we got to see them all. They're really, it's more together. The bridge is smaller and compact. We got a new character who joined the crew,
Ensign Hawk.
Yes. And, of course, this is an actor that plays a lot of villains now.
Neil McDonough, he's an Arrow. He was in Desperate Housewives, I believe, as a kind of a bad guy type character in that.
Walking Tall, The Rock.
Yep. Yeah, he's made kind of a career being a jerk.
He has a very stoic look about him, though.
Yeah.
What'd you guys say? It was like a cross between...
Oh, he looks like a love child of Matt Damon and Chris Pine.
I just now got that. I mean, wow. I didn't
At least
even think
in this
of that.
movie he did.
Of course, of course.
All units, open fire. Remodulate shield protection. They've broken through the defense perimeter. Toward Earth. Pursuit force. Kill the can't control. 0, 2, 1, mark.
Defiance continues to attack. Flight start to command. We need reinforcements.
Casualty reported coming in. 96 dead, 22 wounded on the Lexington.
Commander must be on the man.
Lieutenant Hawk, set a course for Earth.
Aye, sir.
Maximum warp.
So basically, the Enterprise decides to go help out the fleet defending Earth from the Borg. This is familiar, this cube, from the show, obviously. to backtrack a little bit, at first, Starfleet really didn't want Picard and crew to go intercept the Borg with the rest of the fleet because, Picard was assimilated into Locutus on Best of Both Worlds, two-parter show,
right,
in the TNG run. Basically, they don't ever want him to come up against the Borg again,
right.
even though he did in the later episodes of the show.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's a movie, so it makes it more interesting. He needs to distance himself because they question his mentality, I guess, if he has to go up against them. Obviously,
he's
we're
too
gonna,
close,
right? And we will kind of see,
right?
Maybe it was a good call,
right.
but given the circumstance. So anyway, we get a first huge space battle. Like, I've never seen this on the screen.
Tons of starships. Yeah, it was cool.
It's beautiful because you only ever see one or two starships.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my complaint about even the newer movies. Like, where's all the damn starships?
Right.
Yeah.
Why is the Enterprise the only one defending Earth and all that, So it was really cool to see lots of familiar ships from the TV series. You see the Excelsior, the Enterprise D, well, the type of class of ship that was.
Constitution class.
Constitution class, thank you.
Galaxy class.
Oh, was it Galaxy?
Yeah, Galaxy class.
What's Constitution?
Constitution was the original Enterprise.
Oh, of course. Of course. Yeah. And then you got the Enterprise C, whatever class that was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry if people were out there like, this is bullshit. He doesn't notice.
Oh, they'll know. Oh, yeah. Heart, right? Yeah.
I am a true fan. I just don't know everything about it. But anyway, beautiful scene of all these ships just going at it, trying to take down the Borg. And of course, we get to see the Defiant.
It was a ship that was attached to DS9 after so many seasons. They decided, well, let's have a way to get off the station a little bit and
make Captain, or make Cisco Captain.
Make Cisco Captain, and Worf took a little transfer after TNG went off the air to the station, and
it could cloak too. The Defiant could cloak. That was another.
It was a slick little ship.
Yes,
over the line.
So we get to see the Defiant battling it out, and it's like a huge DS9 nod. And of course, Cisco isn't in the ship, but it's Worf commanding the ship, and the ship is just destroyed inside. It's just been through all of it. And so this is also an appearance of the famous actor now. I don't know if you say he's famous, but Adam Scott.
Yeah, he's pretty recognizable. I mean, he was in Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Among other things.
Looks very young in this movie, but he's the one...
communications officer.
Right. He's at the helm, and he's telling Worf, it's the Enterprise, because, the Defiant's about ready to bite it. They're just pretty much, exhausted everything they can do.
Report! Main power's offline. We've lost shields. Our weapons are gone.
Perhaps today is a good day to die. Prepare for ramming speed!
Sir, there's another starship coming in. It's the Enterprise.
Basically, Picard's able to tell them to fire in a certain spot of the Borg cube, which doesn't make sense, but he knows because that's also something interesting going on. He can hear the Borg. He's still attached, even though...
I think anytime that somebody's assimilated, they always are still attached in some way, shape, or form to being able to
probably you'll never be the same.
Yeah, they always have an attachment.
So, we see this ball come out of the cube.
Yeah,
this is a new ship, right?
Yep.
A sphere.
A sphere comes out of it, and it's obviously has Borg in it and all that, and it was kind of their contingency if something happened to the cube.
Right.
Boom. And they use... I can't remember what they called it to go back in
time vortex.
Yeah.
Somehow they summon that.
Yep.
They're like, road trip.
Right. And the Enterprise follows them in.
Let's see the sights. Yes. Yeah. And then they discover as they're following it, they're analyzing Earth. Earth's population, I think, changes to all Borg.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
They showed a cool shot of Earth, what it would look like as a Borg planet.
Yeah.
And that was pretty wicked.
It's like all red.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It was pretty slick.
So they're wondering, like, how come nothing's changed for them? Right. It's because they were caught in the vortex, so they just were able to stay the same. So basically, they decide to follow that spear into the past, and then it happens to be the day they arrive happens to be the day before first contact.
It's like it's either the day before or a couple days before. Yeah, but I think you're right. I think it is the day before.
It's really a cool scene. Like A lot of parts of this movie don't seem like a Star Trek movie in a way. I mean, you got two people coming out of a bar, and you got, of course, the great James Cromwell playing Zephyr Cochrane, and oh gosh, what's her name?
Alfred Woodard.
Yes, playing his assistant Lily.
Yep.
So the two of them walking out of a bar.
She was phenomenal.
She was fantastic.
Are you kidding me?
And Frakes
should have kept her.
Oh yeah. Well, when Frakes came to Hollywood, I believe he developed a close relationship with her. Like she was kind of his godmother.
Oh wow.
She was already there, established, and kind of helped him. So he kind of like it was a friend. He was like being in the movie. And Cromwell was in a few TNG episodes. Yes. And this is around the time Babe came out, the pig movie, and he got like a nomination, or maybe he won, I'm not sure, but I think they kind of were nervous, like maybe he's not going to take the part.
Right, yeah.
But
he's too big.
Yeah, supposedly he didn't care, he just did it.
Yeah.
So
which is cool.
It was really cool. So yeah, they got the two of them coming out of the bar, and they're Lily's pointing up in the sky, and she's like, "What's that?" And he starts saying, "That's the constellation Leo," or whatever. And then you see these lights, and then explosions. Yeah. And the whole little village they're in, you don't know what's going on yet. You don't know what's in the village that's so important. So yeah, that gets all attacked. And then of course the Enterprise comes through the spear, and they take out the ball ship, whatever the sphere. I'm sorry.
Sphere.
Yeah. They came out of the vortex and attacked the sphere.
And the sphere explodes.
Yep. And so they transport down to the planet to see, assess the damage basically. So they beam down, assess the situation. Picard and Data find the Phoenix, which is the warp ship. Yep. It's going to make the historic run. Well, let's hope. Right now, it doesn't look too good.
Yep, it was launching from an old missile silo.
Yep. And it was damaged. I think some of the radiation. It was a radiation leak, basically. So it was damaged. Lily actually shoots Data. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Data pulls a Terminator on her.
Yeah.
So she gets knocked out because of the radiation poisoning. So they all have to. It's so cool how Crusher's like, oh, we all have to be inoculated.
Inoculated, yeah.
And she just like, of course, like TNG fashion or Star Trek fashion, like just like that. You're done. You're fine.
And you're done.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Up on the Enterprise, I guess it's starting to heat up a little bit, and they're like, "What's going on?" And Picard's starting to have his suspicions, and he's, talking to the Enterprise. They don't seem to be too alarmed. I think he's talking to Worf. So Picard decides to go back up to the Enterprise because he suspects the Borg are on the ship. And so he does that. Riker and LaForge stay on the planet. They're still looking for Cochrane at this point. They fear that he is dead, so they're going to have to figure out another way to get this mission accomplished. So basically, two engineer people are the first ones to bite it from the Borg. It's pretty horrible. It's more in your head of a scene.
Yeah.
Because in the ventilation, all of a sudden you hear the
engineers
noise.
always go first in the movies.
Yeah. Well, she wasn't even a red shirt either. So.
Well,
it's funny because they really played up almost a horror angle to it.
They did
in some spots.
They did. There's a lot of that.
Really cool.
I remember being scared in this scene in the theater. I was just like, "What the hell? This isn't Star Trek."
Right.
But this is, super cool. They discover the Borg's on the ship, so they have to like get the guns out and go hunt them down. And it's really a cool scene. It just builds up the anticipation. And of course, Data, he has his emotion chip on.
Oh yeah,
and he's telling Picard like, "I'm feeling nervous and everything." Picard's like, "You might want to turn that off."
Yeah,
and he just with the turn of the head, you hear this.
Yeah, and it was done in typical Data fashion.
Yeah, it was cool.
So he 2 or 3 times it was mentioning to Picard about how he was feeling, and Picard, God bless him, he didn't freak out on Data. He's just like, "You might want to turn that off."
You're gonna make me nervous.
Yeah, exactly. It was good.
Captain, I believe I am feeling anxiety. It is an intriguing sensation. A most distracting.
Data, I'm sure it's a fascinating experience, but perhaps you should deactivate your emotion chip for now.
Good idea, sir. Done.
Data, there are times that I envy you.
Meanwhile, on Earth, Riker goes to the bar because he hears loud music and he's trying to find Deanna, Troy. And so he finds her in a bar, and he's trying to scream at her, and he unplugs the jukebox, and she's like, no. And Cochran throws a bottle at him.
Yeah, it just crashes against the wall next to him. It was awesome.
And supposedly Cromwell, I think, in this scene, he might have went a little method, if I remember correctly. I think he had a few drinks. So like, there's a reaction where he has a drink with Troy, and they cheers. I don't know if it's like tequila or whatever. But he does this like gesture where he takes his arm and he just like a chicken. That was real. That just he had a few already. So, I mean, that's just the greatness of this movie. There's so much going on. There's humor. There's, horror aspects, just tons of eye candy.
Oh, yeah.
And the new ship, everything. It's all working. I just remember as a kid, like, I just loved this movie, the whole time. Kind of like what I felt with Beyond, just it was all clicking. Data is actually captured while they're, battling the Borg. So, that's a situation there. Picard runs off, I guess, to find more people. I don't know. It's a retreat, basically. That's what happens. Bumps into Lily. And she actually came from the medical bay, I believe.
She snuck out.
Yeah, Crusher had to revive her.
Trying to make her escape because she was freaking out.
Right. And that was a scary scene, too, when I think Crusher was like, oh, it's getting hot in here.
Yeah.
And she's right by the door, and it's just big pound, and you see this dent in the door, and it's the Borg trying to get in. And so she's evacuating everybody, and then she activates the
emergency medical hologram, the EMH.
So which is the Voyager nod, which is, even though it's not
not the same doctor, but it's the same program.
Exactly.
And brilliantly played by Robert Picardo.
Yes.
He's just so
very
awesome.
Good. Very good. And it's
some of my favorite Voyager episodes were around him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
so many.
So cool.
That's so many. Yeah, that was the beauty of Star Trek. A lot of character actors, because he did. I think he did Inner Space. He did some other movies.
He's done a million things.
Yeah, they all really are. But you finally get to see them shine on the shows, and it's just great. But yeah, he had the same mannerisms and everything from Voyager. It was really cool.
Yeah.
He's trying to hold off the Borg, and he was getting a little nervous, even though he was a hologram.
Yeah, they couldn't touch him or hurt him, but he was still intimidated. It was pretty cool.
So that's how Lily got loose, and she bumped into Picard, and eventually Picard wins her trust. She doesn't know what the hell's going on, and he had to explain to her, which was probably not given the circumstances, it was necessary to tell her all this stuff, about the future.
And then when
everything.
He shows her
Earth
from a big giant window,
he's like, "You want to go home?
Yeah,
here's your way out."
Yeah, it was awesome.
He's like, "You might want to hold your breath."
And her acting was great. Because her reaction
fantastic.
to that, was like what any of us would probably do. You're just freaking out. You're on a spaceship. No one's done that before.
I know.
Like that.
Exactly. And then she has to learn about the Borg. And she actually had a funny line where she's like, "It sounds Swedish."
Yeah.
It was pretty neat. So, yeah, just so much going on. Picard's trying to handle the situation, but he also has this new person who's from the past. So it's a lot of juggling. I mean, that's what the whole movie is.
Back to the doctor scene just made me laugh when he was talking about, something for their face. Like maybe an analgesic or something, because trying to stall the Borg.
Right. He bumps into the wall.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was
pretty good.
Brilliantly delivered.
I hope his program ended after that, and they couldn't really assimilate him, I guess.
They couldn't assimilate him. They couldn't do anything to him.
Right.
So who knows what his program is doing the rest of the movie. But
it's traumatized.
Just hanging out traumatized, hiding.
Well, I love how Crusher's like, "Oh, I never wanted to use one of these things."
Yeah.
Should computer activate state the emergency. There's a few Borg coming in.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency. That's so awesome. Yeah.
You have scared the holodeck. Going into recovery mode.
Oh, that's so great.
That's awesome. Picard and Lily are trying to escape the Borg, and there's this great holodeck scene.
Yeah.
Which is probably the only... Think about it, it's the only time I believe they used the well, maybe they did it in Insurrection, but anyway, you get to see the holodeck theatrically.
Yeah, it's
pretty neat, and it's a big setting. It's the classic character from the show Picard would occasionally play, which was do you recall what his character's name was?
I don't remember the name, but it's kind of like a gangster era.
Yeah, he's a detective. Type, right? He's a private eye,
like a PI type, right? Exactly.
And so he is basically running one of those fantasy programs, and him and Lily are dancing. It's really a cool scene. It again it
was very
the movie.
tense.
Yeah. The movie shifts. Like they come from running from the Borg, and you get tricked because it's like, oh, we're amongst all these people. It's like they're all fake, and the Borg's coming in.
So
they
it was
don't
a perfect
care.
distraction.
Yeah, it was
because the Borg, you're completely distracted. It's sensory overload. I mean, it was a brilliant maneuver to throw that up like that.
It was, and of course Picard got a hold of Tommy gun and went to town on the Borg, and it was really cool. I mean, this was a scene where it kind of started to. Lily had her suspicions that Picard was kind of enjoying killing the Borg.
Yeah.
You know, he never really got his revenge on the Borg, even though there was a few episodes he probably did. But you know, it's still with him. It was I think it was only 6 years before that he was captured, so he's still getting over it. It hasn't even been a decade. They regroup with the rest of the crew, the bridge crew, and they go on a spacewalk. Another fantastic scene. I mean, this movie just gives everything
visually just stunning,
beautiful. Yeah. The spacewalk's really neat. Obviously, they're not fans of it.
Right.
This is the first time you got to really see them do a spacewalk ever, I believe. And so the TNG cast, I mean.
Right.
So there's a cool camera trick. Well, I don't know if it's a camera trick. It's just a simple camera maneuver.
Right.
But they're underneath the ship. They're going to the deflector dish because the Borg's trying to basically signal for...
They're using that for a subspace relay so they can, signal to the Borg, back in their time.
Right. Get more backup, basically. Make things worse. Bring them around here sooner than later. So Picard tells Worf to just pay attention to the hull and don't look up to the stars.
Yeah.
And then the camera does a great trick where I think it's as Worf's POV, he looks down and he looks up, and then all of a sudden the ship is upside down. Yeah. Even though it's really not, but it's just a way for you to
That's just
relate.
how they're walking on it, right? Yeah.
So after that, it's a kind of a ballsy move. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, ooh, why did they do that?
It was really cool. I love how they exhibited the silence of space.
Yes.
Very realistic. Just really cool scene.
Yeah, it was great.
And
scene.
not only that, I mean, you have the Earth in the background, and you have just the expanse of space, and it was really cool.
And you're trying to get as much as you can with the new Enterprise, because this is a new ship. I mean, there's so many things to take in.
Yep.
It's it's kind of hard to focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But basically, they get to the deflector dish. A battle ensues. We lose Lieutenant Hawk. He gets assimilated.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Which sucks.
They're trying to unclamp, basically,
the deflector dish
and let it just float away.
Right.
And
Worf gets his suit torn.
Yeah.
Which is, like, intense because the suit's like, you're going to die soon.
Yeah.
You're losing air or whatever.
Right. Just like if anything that would happen if you lost your suit in space. It's go
exactly.
time.
And he's like oh. He actually pulls out a Klingon weapon at one point. And he hacks off the hand of the Borg.
Yeah.
And it's that hand with the wiring or whatever that was attached to it. He uses it to tie off his suit.
Oh, wow.
There's a badass scene where he's got his weapon up and the hand's floating and the cable or whatever is...
It was cool. Just floating there.
Yeah.
While he's sitting there trying to stay alive.
Right. Because I think he took Hawk out to protect Picard, because Hawk went after Picard after he got assimilated.
And Damon Pine died.
Yeah, Damon Pine died. Which sucks, because it's like, maybe they could have grabbed him and helped him. That was another thing that was kind of like a dick move on Picard's part, but I get it, because it's the timing. There's really, the situation is so bad, there's not time to really try to save everybody.
Right.
Because, him himself was saved. They didn't have to. They could have just probably destroyed the ship.
He was making the ultimate choice of a captain.
True.
On
Hard choice.
What's a greater good versus, what could I do versus what should I do.
Right. And so he basically told the crew, if you encounter any crew members that have been assimilated, take them out. You're doing them a favor. So I think he kind of regrets that later on, but given the situation, there just was no time.
He had no other option. He had no options,
No time.
And that's the hard part of sitting in that chair.
Yeah.
You have to make those tough choices.
That's true. That's true, which is why I'll never be in the chair. Maybe just, we'll keep it warm for the captain.
Right,
but if we get a distress call, I'm like,
give you an overnight
captain?
shift.
Yeah.
Like Ensign Kim on the Voyager.
There you go. So, that was pretty intense scene. We lost Hawk. Worf said a famous line once the deflector dish was removed from the ship. It had like It was still attached with the electronic cable or whatever.
Yeah. Go Worf.
Yeah.
Assimilate this.
So Data was captured earlier on. He gets strapped to a table. He was able to activate an encryption code before the Borg officially took over the Enterprise, I believe. So the Borg are trying to get to the encryption code to get full control of the ship.
Right.
So in this process, Data's basically telling the Borg, like, you can try all you want. It's in my head and you can't get it out.
You're not getting it.
So then we hear a female voice and it's like, well, what's going on here? And so it's revealed that there's a Borg queen.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another fantastic special effect they did.
Yeah.
Cutting edge at the time. Had to be, because I don't think you've ever seen anything like it.
Really cool.
Right. Basically from the rafters, she comes down, head and shoulders. That's it, right?
Shoulders and spinal.
Yes. Robotic spine.
Yeah, robotic spine.
Right.
Being inserted into the body.
Right. And as the spine's moving around and stuff.
It was pretty cool.
It was, and I think, yeah, this definitely got some nominations for special effects, Academy Award nominations, and I think it won like 4 Saturn Awards at the time. Very impressive special effect. So yeah, once she gets down into her suit, she starts talking to Data. Basically, you know, Data's I think he's kind of confused, probably like the rest of us. Like, wait a minute, the Borg's a collective, but no, there's a queen. So
he asked her a lot of questions. He was trying to figure it all out. Yeah,
right.
It was cool.
Right. They're kind of trying to manipulate Data into giving the codes out, basically. They graft skin to him.
On his arm and his face.
So it provides him with a great sensation he's never had. You know, she blows on it and there's
goosebumps.
Goosebumps. Yeah. She's like, was that good for you?
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And Data's just, because they turn on his emotion chip too, because he's feeling everything, you know. So anyway, they kind of get talking. She's kind of flirting with him, you know. You're not really sure if it's genuine from her part. Like, you know, she's trying to get at him, but maybe she is actually intrigued by an android, because the Borg tries so much to basically be all machine. Yeah. And here's this man, which they're doing the opposite. Right. They're turning him into a human. It's very interesting.
Turned on his emotion chip.
Right.
And he's freaking out a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
And it was cool to see her, the actress, actually come back for the finale of Voyager. You know, that was
That's true. Yeah. Yep, that is true.
Voyager used a different Borg queen in prior episodes, but Alice Krige came back for the Voyager finale, which was neat. Yeah.
I would love to get her autograph and see a panel. Like, she
was really good. Just phenomenal actress.
And I'm sure I think I've heard an interview of her. She's always pleased to have fans come up and talk to her. And even though she just had one little part, I mean, it wasn't little, but, you know, it was a huge impact.
Screen time may be little, but, you know, for the impact of the character was huge.
Right. And then you always think of the Borg Queen now when you talk about the Borg. I mean, I do at least.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't not associate the two.
Exactly. And of course, what we always wanted to see on the show, we get to see Brent Spiner, part of him, as Data, but looking like human.
Right.
You always saw him play like the creator of Data and, you know, other characters, whatever. But yeah, this is really neat how they did this. And so Picard, after the spacewalk, he gets back into the ship. Him and Worf have a fight. Worf wants to blow up the ship because the Borg's just taking over everything. And Picard's like, no, we're not going to blow up the ship. We're not going to lose another Enterprise. And so he calls Worf a coward, which is like, wow. And of course, Worf, you know.
That was an intense scene.
That was, because they've never really had a beef with each other.
And Worf responds back.
Yeah.
If you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand.
Right.
And that was just like...
Get off my bridge.
Right. Kicks him off the bridge, and it's like, holy crap.
Mommy and Daddy are fighting.
It was awesome. It was a very, very good scene.
Lily's really great character. She grounds, and like she probably grounded Cochrane in a way, you know, kept him on the right path and so on. She's doing the same for Picard. Yeah. Picard actually needs her as much as she needs him to survive and all that. He's basically, at this point, he's Captain Ahab. She puts it best. You know, you're Captain Ahab chasing your white whale.
Yeah.
You don't want to give it up. You know, give up the Borg.
And she calls him Ahab later on in the show too, just as, you know.
Right.
It was cool.
And there's a lot of cool similarities between this and Khan, you know, because there's a lot of Moby Dick reference,
Right.
you know, all this like famous literature. This is probably TNG's Khan, if you would say.
I would. This is
movies.
the pinnacle of the next generation. There's no question.
Yeah.
If someone wants to question it, they can fight me into the rafters after school.
And I will kill you as you stand. So Picard, you know, Lily just screams at him.
This is not about revenge.
Liar!
This is about saving the future of humanity.
Jean-Luc, blow up the damn ship!
No! No!
Out of, you know, she's like, blow up the damn ship.
Yeah.
And he's just like, no. And so he breaks his ships. And
the line has to be drawn.
Yeah. I remember, that was funny. I remember my uncle, I saw this movie, I think, twice in the theater. My uncle thought that line was corny in the preview, but for some reason, when I saw it in the theater, I thought they fixed it. And so when we saw it together, it was identical. And I don't think he liked that too much. I mean, you know, Stewart was really Shakespearean it up in that scene, but you know, actors
and
get
there was
that.
a lot of context surrounding that
True.
too, you know, and
True. It
with
works.
all the dramatic build up and everything that was going on.
He comes to his senses and he basically orders abandoned ship, and we activate the self-destruct sequence, which I remember at the time in the theater, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, we just got this Enterprise
Brand
E.
new I thought the same
Damn
thing.
it.
Yeah.
Why we gotta blow up everything?
Like, come on.
We're gonna have an F already? What the hell? But, you know, Picard had that funny saying. Well, actually, yeah, he did say this in this one. I guess I thought he said it in Generations. But, yeah, I think Crusher said something like, do you think there'll be another Enterprise? And he goes, oh, yeah, there's several letters left in the alphabet.
Right,
something like that. So him and Worf have, you know, they hashed out. Or, you know, he tells Worf that he's the bravest man he ever knew.
Yeah.
And so they kind of just make up, basically. You get to see everyone escaping from the pods, and Picard decides to stay behind. Yep, he's gonna go find Data because it was beautifully put. Like, he saved me once, I'm gonna save him. It was really cool how that kind of that twist, you know.
Right.
So back on Earth, the Enterprise crew is helping Cochrane make this launch happen, and Cochrane's just getting praised left and right.
He's being treated like a celebrity,
right?
You know, which he hates, immensely.
He's already got a hangover, so this is already affecting. And you know, he's got this pressure to pull off this mission because it's more important now because of what the crew told him, like what it meant. Like they basically told him that Star Trek came to be because of this moment.
They inadvertently were psyching him out, and you know, they didn't mean to.
No,
but you know, they look at him as a stoic, great individual,
right?
When you got this drunk, flawed guy, you know, who's just trying to, you know, just live his life, and he has no idea. He has no long-term plan at all, you know.
And there's a cool scene where Reg, he was a character on TNG. He actually
Voyager.
was in the A-Team show, played Murdoch.
Dwight Schultz.
You get to see him again as his character, Reg, right?
Yep.
And is
Reginald Barclay.
Yep.
Reginald.
There's a few great episodes of him in the TNG series.
Yeah, and with Voyager as well.
That's right, yeah.
You know,
he had a big deal with the finale, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was instrumental in helping Starfleet find
that's
Voyager
right.
through the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah.
And they were able to, through a relay, communicate like once a month or something, and it was a really cool... It made you feel like they were going to get back.
LaForge is trying to, you know, shoo Reg away, you know, because he knows Reg is just idolizing, you know, just having a moment.
Yeah, hero worship.
Right.
You know?
And so finally, you know, he gets his chance and he shakes Cochrane's hand. He's like, you have no idea what. And then LaForge is basically like, shut up, Reg. And then LaForge continues to do.
He does it too.
Yes.
Do they have to keep doing that?
It's just a little hero worship, Doc. To tell you the truth, I can't say I blame him. We all grew up hearing about what you did here. Or what you're about to do. You know, I probably shouldn't even tell you this, but I went to Zephram Cochrane High School.
Really?
You know, I wish I had a picture of this.
What?
Well, you see, in the future, this whole area becomes an historical monument. You're standing almost on the exact spot where your statue's gonna be.
Statue?
Oh, yeah. It's marble. About 20 meters tall, and you're looking up at the sky, and your hands sort of reaching toward the future.
He tells...
He went to Zephram Cochrane High School.
Right.
He's like, high school. I mean, the guy he was completely psyched out of his mind.
Yeah, and then he tells him he's gonna have a statue, and he's like, "It's right here," and you're kind of looking at the stars. And he's like, "I gotta go take a leak." Yeah, and he's like, "Leak? I don't see no leak." He's like, "You guys don't pee in your timeline?"
Oh, that's very funny.
And that's something we didn't mention before. LaForge has got these incredible eye implants. He no longer has the visor.
Doesn't need it. The hair clip turned on his face, right? Yeah,
exactly. So I'm sure that was great for LeVar Burton.
Yeah,
to finally, and it's a great effect. It's like blue eyes, and they do a few close-up shots where it's actually moving. He can look at, and he might have been able to do this with the visor. They never really explored what the visor could do. I'm not sure.
A lot, you know. And I really thought LeVar Burton. I think aside from Picard, this was really Picard's movie.
Yeah, it's not redemption, but kind of vengeance,
a little bit of vengeance and
closure,
and I hate to call the other characters lesser characters, but aside from Picard and maybe Data, I think Burton turned in probably the best performance.
I agree
of everyone else.
I agree.
Was really good.
Yeah, it was damn good, and yeah, the whole crew's really on par. They're of course Frakes. He's pulling double duty just like Nimoy did with the movies he directed. So it's like you don't see a lot of Riker, but you do. There's some scenes where, of course, Cochrane runs off. He's scared, and they have to track him down. That's when LaForge uses his new eyes.
That's right.
And then Riker's like, we got no time for this, because Cochrane's like running from. They found him, and he's still running from him, and he's drinking still. So he just zaps him with the phaser, still. And so they have to sober him up. He's just a wreck, basically. But so anyway, Riker and LaForge end up being his crewmates, and there's a cool scene where they're about ready to launch the Phoenix. And Cochrane's like, "Oh no, I just forgot something," and they're like, "Oh, we got an abort. He's like, "No, I found it," and it's like this CD or whatever, and it's 70s music, right?
It's a Magic Carpet Ride from Steppenwolf. Yep.
And there's other songs I think in this movie that are from the 70s. Maybe.
Roy Orbison was one that comes to mind. Yep.
Everybody ready to make some history?
Always am.
I think I forgot something.
What?
I don't know. It's probably nothing.
Begin ignition sequence. $20.
Oh God.
19.
Now I remember.
18.
What?
Where is
17.
it?
What?
16.
We can't lift off without
15,
it.
Jordy, we've got to abort.
14,
No,
13,
wait, I found it.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8.
Let's
7,
rock and roll.
6.
And of course, you get to see the beautiful Phoenix launched.
The pod.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
It was really neat.
That launch was really awesome.
Yeah. And then they blow the doors off of it, and then the warp and cells engage.
They come out. Yeah.
Yep. And they're very, very identical to the original TOS, the original series Enterprise, especially on the back there.
Yeah.
It's a really cool nod or a connection to what's going to come after this. At this time, Picard gets down to engineering to rescue Data, and he offers himself as an exchange for Data's life. Data says no, and so everyone's like, "Oh no!"
Well, everybody thinks Data is turned to the dark side,
right? Exactly. So pretty much.
That's what the impression is.
Pretty much, and it's revealed, of course, that Picard was chosen by the Borg Queen to become Locutus of Borg, and she just basically wanted a counterpart.
Right.
Data's the new counterpart.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it looks that way. I don't know if that's what... You never really know where her intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
You just know that you can't trust her.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they begin to assimilate or they strap Picard to the thing, and they're ready to launch missiles at the Phoenix. So, I mean, it looks like this is it's gonna end bad, and even though you pretty much know what's gonna happen, it's revealed that Data really isn't
under control,
right? And so he
fires a photon.
He does,
but it purposefully misses.
Right. After the Borg Queen realizes that he's not turned or whatever, he says resistance is futile, and then he hits he hits the plasma coolant,
something like that, yeah. And so then after that, all this gas basically just is unleashed into engineering, where all the Borg are, the Queen is, and if that gas touches you, it just melts your skin off.
Eats up organic material.
All of your organic material is just
which
gone.
was the crew's plan from the start to do, but Data just did it, you know, in the end. And so Picard had to quickly run and get to high ground,
to avoid the gas.
And so, the Borg Queen comes out and tries to grab Picard, and Data, he's the greatest. He grabs her and takes her down. And you get to see this. It's really graphic for a PG-13, but her face, she just starts turning and like flakes of her skin come off.
It's pretty.
Yeah. And then the noise, like, and so, it's
a little gruesome.
Yeah, it is. So she's basically still alive. Just a spine and a metal skull, and it's moving around a little bit. And in a kind of, I guess, grotesque manner, if it wasn't machinery, Picard just snaps the spine.
He just
he's
grabs
like, I'm
it,
done.
pulls it out,
right?
Snaps it and on the floor. Yeah.
And then we get to see Data exposed. His
lost the
skin
organic
parts.
skin,
yeah, which probably hurt him to do,
probably
because it was connected to his chip. So obviously they're gonna have to repair him the next one.
Basically, Data After Dark.
Data After Dark. Yep.
With scars.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
It's a new look.
Poor Data.
But don't worry, he'll be back.
Yeah,
he'll be back. Just change the oil and
there you go.
Kick the tires.
Tin Man.
Spark plugs. Yep.
Boop, boop.
So first contact ends up happening. The alien race detected the warp signature from the Phoenix, because that's all the Phoenix did, really. It just warped and then came back to Earth just to give a trail of like
dust.
Yeah, Cochrane, the intent wasn't to make first contact. It was just, they were testing out their warp, and poof, they did it. And the other race happened to be close enough by to pick up the signature. And, later on that evening, after, Cochrane and everyone's back on Earth, the ship lands, and it was a pretty cool moment.
Did you have any idea before it was revealed who the alien race was?
Not really.
Yeah.
But when it was the Vulcans, it didn't surprise me.
No.
At all.
Right.
So, you see him walking. I knew on the ramp. I'm like, oh, those are Vulcans.
Right.
And so then he flips back the hood and there's the ears, and it's like, cool.
It's like, they're Romulans, kill them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was really neat. And then the Vulcan did the live long and prosper gesture. Cochrane tried to do it, and
couldn't
he
do it.
just
shook his hand.
Yeah. It was a really great moment.
Yeah. And then they go drink at the bar.
Yeah. And then he turns the music on. The Vulcans are startled, and he's like, no, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And he starts dancing all goofy.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful ending. Obviously, the crew beam up, and I think Lily gets to see the ship go back into the
a nice
vortex.
goodbye between Picard and Lily.
Yes.
On Earth, and then they beam out, and poof.
Right.
That's it.
It's beautiful. And then there's your movie.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And I think eventually talk about the other movies. Nemesis will be kind of tough. Well, actually, that might be more humorous. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
If you see this movie, it's really kind of sad that it never really got this good again.
It really didn't.
Insurrection was the closest because they had the budget, I think.
But it was just such a different feel for Insurrection.
It was very television
Again,
feel.
very cool moments and stuff. It was a good story. It wasn't First Contact, but you're right. Insurrection could have been a couple TV episodes, a two-parter and done.
Sure.
But
and I heard like their idea, because Nemesis wasn't going to be the last movie. It just happened to be because, they're kind of getting up there and it didn't make a lot of money. But supposedly Rick Berman thought of Q, I believe, for their final
Q would have
movie,
been wonderful.
Which would have been great.
Cool.
Yeah.
But of course, you had the TV finale, and I guess that's kind of it for Q. I don't know what else you could do, maybe.
Well, he was in Voyager a lot.
True. And DS9, I think he was too.
Once, I believe.
Once, yeah. I don't think he ever popped up on Enterprise, but who knows? No. This movie's fantastic. I strongly recommend checking it out.
If you haven't seen it, go see it immediately.
I will.
Mitch took one for the team, or for you guys, because he's never seen it and he's all spoiled. So,
No, I'm definitely going to go see it. I mean, a lot of the theatrical pictures and storylines and stuff like that seem really, really interesting.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I strongly recommend, even if you're not a Star Trek fan, go out and get 2 and First Contact. Those are the best movies. JJ's are good too.
I'd say 2, 4, and this.
I agree.
Converted my wife.
Yes.
Who was
Voyage Home.
Yeah, who didn't care about Star Trek very much. She liked it because she was just trying to be nice to me, but her and my daughter, they genuinely loved 4. That's a great that's a great way to bring in a new audience.
Mm-hmm. True. Because it played to everybody in that one. And I think First Contact probably got close to that, maybe beyond, you could say. But Voyage Home was definitely like everybody could go see this movie because I believe at the time when Nimoy got approval to do the movie, the studio heads are like, if this script was any other movie, we would greenlight it too. Right. Like it was just that good.
It was good. So, and he did a phenomenal job.
He did. He did.
And Jonathan Frakes, man.
Yes.
Hats off, standing ovation.
Yes.
The direction in this movie was outstanding.
Yeah, great guy. The family's fantastic. This cast, they actually are a family, which is nice because the original cast, they're not.
No.
Most of them get along, but some of them don't. It's really refreshing, especially to see them at conventions.
Right.
And
And like the Voyager cast, they're all super tight. Yes. I mean, all the guys from Voyager, they still get together and have dinner and stuff. And,
that's great.
It's just great to see that camaraderie.
As long as jobs they all had, 7 years on a TV series.
Yeah.
Which considering, the fact that they had Star Trek Next Generation was their longest running up to this point.
Yeah.
True. That is true.
Yeah, 7 years. And then each series after that, with the exception of Enterprise, went 7 years and done.
Yeah.
Right. Once again, go out and buy 2 and 4.
2, 4, and First Contact.
There you go, which is 8.
Yeah.
Right? 2, 4,
2, 4, and 8.
It appears that even-numbered movies are good for this series.
6 is good.
6 was great, too. I just watched that the other day, Undiscovered Country, with the Klingons, and Worf's grandfather, played by Michael Dorn, was in it.
I believe, I think Nick Myers was like, just throw him in, I don't care. And
it was cool, too.
It work. Yeah.
And it made it work. It was really awesome.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a great time. 50 years of Star Trek. These are great movies, great television. So many hours of entertainment they have given us. And we got Star Trek Discovery coming, which I am just
so excited
psyched
for it. Yeah.
Nicholas Meyer attached. It's just a great time to be a Trekkie, and hopefully we get more people to, come on board. I think Beyond helped get an audience.
Yeah, it really mainstreamed it, kind of, a little bit.
Which true Trek fans are. I'm one Trek fan that can accept new alternatives.
And same with me. And the only series I've not seen is Enterprise. And so far I've loved every iteration of Star Trek that I've seen. But, I think you can't draw a line in the sand when it comes to sci-fi. You've got to at least have an open mind about it. I mean, it's like comic books when people say, oh, well, that would never happen. Well, sorry, the dude's got a green ring and he can make anything out of his mind. You can't restrict. Yeah. And so when it comes to science fiction and things like that, that's the beauty of sci-fi, is it opens the doors completely. And,
absolutely.
Every Star Trek has been phenomenal. And,
it has. There's rough spots, but that's everything. So
yeah, and when you do 7 years of shows,
you're gonna have
some duds. There's no question.
Exactly.
I mean, Star Trek the original series only did 3 seasons. People widely consider all of season 3 pretty much a dud.
Right. Shatner's like all bloated.
Yeah, with the pinnacle of being seasoned kind of halfway through the first one to maybe about 2/3 of the way through the second.
Sure.
But still, I enjoy it all. It was great.
The resistance for this is futile.
It is.
Live long and prosper. I'm Josh.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Steve.
Take care.